Welcome back to Football Media Day for the Gulf South Conference right here on Flow Sports and Flow Football. First-time coach, first-year coach, Mike Kershaw has joined us along with Braxton Hall, defensive back, Agent Zero, as we would like to call him. Coach, first of all, welcome to the Gulf South Conference. I know this is nothing new. You played in this league, but now you're a head coach. How does it feel to be at the helm at Mississippi College?
Man, it feels great. There's not a lot of guys that get a chance to be a head coach. And so that was my biggest deal to come back and to come back to a place in an area that I'm familiar with. It just worked out perfect for me. So right now, man, I'm just excited to get going, and I'm glad to be here.
You come from Rice, wide receivers coach, throwing it around a lot, but when you were at Delta State, you coached a lot of different positions. What is your philosophy as far as bringing Mississippi College back up to a championship level?
I guess if you asked anybody, they're going to say, he's going to start throwing the ball when he come off the bus, and they're not wrong. And so we're gonna probably change it up a little bit. There'll be some more footballs in the air in Clinton, Mississippi. I can tell you that. But we're not gonna stop running the football. We've got we got an all-conference running back there, and so we feel good about putting the ball in the air. We feel good about the guys we got throwing the ball, but we also feel great about who we're going to hand the ball off to as well. And the guys up front. So we'll be a little different. A lot of people say you're getting rid of the option football, kinda, but there's going to be a lot of option football still in our offensive plan.
I hear you. When this job came open, you were in Texas at Rice. Did you think that this was a dream come true because of your familiarity with the area and with the state of Mississippi?
I think so. I think the stars kind of aligned right. This was always a place because I recruited Mississippi when I was at Rice as well. And so every time I flew in here, I always look, I'm like, man, you always kind of dream a little bit like, well, maybe I took over that program, how it would be. I think there's a lot of really good things going on in Mississippi College. And I think this place can be a sleeping giant. And I've thought that ever since, I've come back here and ever since they come back to Division II. And now it's time to wake the giant.
I hear you. Your pedigree was at Delta State. You were at their rival, but you said that you have a unique situation because this wasn't your rival when you played at Delta State.
Right. When I got to Delta State, that was the first year Mississippi College went down to Division III. So I've never been a part of this rivalry. If you ask the old guys, it's big, and we've built it into everything we talk about. That there is a game at the end of the year that's really, really important to a lot of people. It's important to the people up in Cleveland. It's important to people in Clinton, and we got to make sure that these guys understand it. And it hasn't been very close the last couple of years, and we've got to make it a rivalry again. And the only way to do that is to be competitive. If they come in and it's a stat game for them, they don't see it as a rivalry game, right? But it's only going to be better for both schools if we can make this thing competitive, and that's what we're going to try to do.
You come from a highly academic school in Rice. You go to a highly academic school in Mississippi College. What type of athletes are you looking for to make the Choctaws really roll?
I mean, the first thing we had to do, and we got to make sure it's a right fit at our school, and that's at any school. That's at Valdosta, West Florida, Delta State. It's got to be the right fit. So we got to understand what those parameters are. But then, regardless, we are playing Delta State, Valdosta, West Florida, West Alabama. You better have some athletes running around there. We're not trying to win the GPA battle. We're trying to win on the scoreboard. Mm-hmm. And so to do that, you've got to have guys that can run fast, that can hit hard, and that are big and strong. And so that's what we're looking for. We had to do that from day one when we got here. We really had to get bigger, faster, stronger.
How much have you tapped into your Texas roots in order to try to find some talent? How much have you stayed in the Mississippi area to try to find some talent?
So really our landmark, or where we're going to really hit, is we're going to really start recruiting Mississippi a lot harder than they have in the past. There's some competitive advantages for us to get some kids from Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And so, that's where we're going to start. And if we can't find them there, kind of our footprint will leak into Alabama. The footprint will leak into Louisiana. Do I have some contacts in Texas? Absolutely. And will we use them? Of course we will. But if you look at our roster, probably after next year, you'll see the bulk of it will come from Mississippi. You'll see a good amount of the other guys come from Alabama or Louisiana. It is now a national recruiting for everybody. So you will see on our roster, we did bring a couple kids in from California. We did bring a couple kids in from Florida. So we've got to do that to get the best players we can. But don't tell me there's not great kids in the state of Mississippi and kids that can run and play great football. We can definitely win a lot of football games with kids from Mississippi.
When you look at the film, 3-7, 2-6 last year, do you just not look at the film, or do you look at it and say, we've got some good pieces here, and this is what we need to do in order to improve?
No, you definitely look at it. But then it's also, we're going to be doing so much different stuff. It's kind of, you take it to see what they got, and then you kind of move on. I think we've got some great talent on defense. There were some guys on defense that, are really, really good. The guy sitting right across from me could definitely have played for us at Rice. I'll tell him now, since we're about to get started. He ain't going anywhere now. I wasn't going to tell him that right when we got here. But we've got some guys on the defensive side that are really, really good football players, and we're going to take advantage of that. They kind of, they had some good times in the spring against us, and you kind of look over like, man, there's some good players. There's some quality players here. Now, schemes have to change. We got to make sure we're in the right spot where we're supposed to be and do all that type of stuff. And that's with my coordinators. I feel 100% confident they're going to do that. So that's what's going to be the difference. Yeah, they may have been good football players, but if they're in the wrong spot, it didn't matter. And so now we're gonna put them all in the right spot. We move some guys to different positions that we think fit their best attributes. And so now I think you look at the film last year, you go forward. I think it's really going to fit really well.
I hear you. Let's take a look at your schedule before we talk to Mr. Hall. And your schedule is daunting as usual because it is the Gulf South Conference.
No doubt.
But you also have some other games that should be pretty interesting. You've got to go. You host Texas A&M Kingsville. I know you're most likely familiar with some of those athletes at Shorter, North Greenville, and then you're going to be all the way into the conference. But you step out to take on Northeastern State in November. When you look at that schedule, is it favorable to get your team prepared for what they'll have to go through when they hit conference play?
I think so. I mean, you really start game one, right? That's a team that's been in the Gulf South Conference, and our guys are familiar with. We get to come to Rome or go to Rome, Georgia to open it up. But you see the next game is a game that a lot of our older alumni are talking about because Texas A&I, was the team that they beat in the playoffs a couple times back in 89, 90, so they're familiar with that. So we're going to have a big group of our 89 team come back for that game.
Okay.
So that's not going to be an easy game. And then you just go down the list. There's not an easy game on that list. The Gulf South Conference hasn't changed since when I left. It's the best conference in Division II. There's no doubt about it. You look at there, you're like, okay, what's a game where you can, kind of take it easy? There's not one, and there's never going to be one in the Gulf South. And so, we're just going to go out there and prepare ourselves and try to go 1-0 every week, and we're looking forward to September the 4th and see what it looks like.
All right, Braxton Hall, Agent Zero. When you found out you were getting a new head coach, what was your mindset? What was your thought process? Were you a little apprehensive because you didn't know who he was and where he was coming from?
Yeah, man, it was very exciting. When I first heard Coach Kershaw was coming from Rice, a very highly organization. And when he came in, man, the standard and the culture he tried to set was very present. And we just bought by the standard. And as a player-led team, we've made everybody accountable in everything that we've done.
Defensively, are you excited about the scheme, and what can we expect to see from the Choctaws coming up this fall?
Man, defensively, I'm very excited. We're going to be fast, physical. We're going to fly around to the ball. We're going to have every hat to the ball, and we're going to make a lot of plays, a lot of interceptions, a lot of forced fumbles, all of that type of stuff. So very excited about the defense, the offense, love the schemes. Offensively, we're going to spread you out. We're going to have our playmakers in space, and they're going to do their job.
Last season, was the defense in your mind out on the field a long time, a lot of times, and you had to carry the team if the offense really wasn't clicking? And are you confident that this new scheme will give you guys an opportunity when you give it back to them to get a little rest?
Yeah, I'm very confident in that. And as a defense, we love that. We love to be on the field. We love to make plays. And as long as we're out there, we're trying to get stops. If they don't score, we win. So that's the mindset we have.
What was your offseason like and your summer like so far? What did you do to improve yourself as a player and also to improve yourself as a leader on this team?
So after the season, man, I went straight to work, mentally and physically. So I got with my trainers. We tapped in with film work, seeing what the film and correlating the drills to what I need to do in the game. And then just mentally, just becoming a better leader, being outspoken and just telling my players like what we need to do and be more accountable, and the things that we do and the habits that we have in the game, they need to translate to the game, and that was really the things I was focused on.
Are you starting to see a change even after the spring from what you had in the past and what you can see now and in the future?
I've definitely seen a difference. The culture and the standard, like I said, is the main thing that's changed, and practice has been sped up like tremendously. The tempo and the way we go about things is at a high level, and I hope we continue that, and we will continue that.
All right, Coach Kershaw, when we talk about tempo and we talk about speed, a lot of people don't know you were born in speed because your dad was a football administrator in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So your first thinking of football was flying across the field, high-powered offenses, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the CFL, it's kind of an innovative league. A lot of guys get a lot of their ideas. You know, people start talking about the RPO. That's fairly new. And the RPO is not new. The RPO started in Canada 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so even the last time I was in the Gulf South Conference, I would go up there to training camp and kind of sit around and see and observe, okay, what's going on, and bring some of those things back to when we were at Delta State, even at Rice, we put in some of those things too. So it's a great game. It's a game that's fast. Maybe that's why I want to go fastest. Maybe that's why I want to spread it out. We don't have 110 yards to run out there, but we're going to use every inch of that football field vertically and horizontally.
I hear you. Getting into coaching, you personally, you were an insurance guy at one time, but you said that it was your wife that gave you the opening to go back into what you love.
She did. I mean, it was my daughter graduated from high school, and just randomly she said, is this something you want to go back into? And absolutely. I mean, once you're a coach, you're always a coach. And once you get out in the real world, it's no fun out there. I didn't like that. I didn't like the people I was hanging out. They're not my people, right? And coaching and players are my people. And once she gave me hey, is this something you want to do? 30 seconds later, I was on the phone calling my contacts back again, be like, hey, I'm getting back in if there's a spot for me. And I give all the credit to Coach Bloomer and giving me an opportunity to come back in. Obviously coming to Rice and moving down the street from Austin to Houston was a kind of again that thing just kind of aligned like it was supposed to. There's a lot of blessings out there for him to bring me back into it. Let me be the receiver coach for the Rice Owls, but now it's moving on to the next deal in my life, and I'm super excited about coaching guys like Brax and kind of taking Mississippi College to the next level.
You have coached a lot of different things. I think you were receivers coach, quarterback coach, even on defense. So do you think that you were being prepared quietly to be a head coach?
I think so, and everybody knows in Division II you wear a lot of hats. You can put video coordinator and travel guy and all that type of stuff in there too. So, being an offensive guy, being able to go to the defensive side always helps because now you see a different vantage point. But I would always say, and I'm going to try my best to not be an offensive head coach. I want to be the team head coach. Mm-hmm. And I think the way we've got our staff set up now, better than we did in the spring, where I can come over to the defense a lot of times and see what they're doing and checking, so those guys can see me too. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to feel like, hey, our head coach is just an offensive guy. Yeah, I'm going to coach the quarterbacks. I've got an offensive coordinator that's going to call the plays for me, so that's going to be great. Where lets me kind of roam around a little bit more, but. Does it help? Obviously, to wear a lot of hats, and like I said, I'm still wearing a lot of hats. It's kind of the good and the bad thing about being a Division II head coach is you got your hands in everything, and which is great because being a first-time head coach, I want my hands in everything, and all of a sudden, sometimes I'm like, man, I got my hands in everything. I'm too busy. I got to actually coach football, and that's something that sometimes it gets away from me. But I got a great staff that I trust tremendously that's going to take care of the on-the-field stuff. And when I do get time to coach football, I'm going to do it my best, and we got some great players to make it happen.
All right, Coach, good luck to you this fall. Good luck to you. Stay tuned. We come back. We'll have more from the 2024 Gulf South Conference Football Media Day right here on Flow Sports.